sooner or later, I'm going to get a better stand for my phone. A little dusty. There is no length, there is no distance I wouldn't go for making videos. Do start when I was building this part here. You can see I put the bottom on it now. I think it's going to be awesome. It is going to look odd for a while. And the debate, we'll talk about this piece in a second. The debate, in case you thought I forgot about it, the debate is, so I built this guy for all those little landing pads that I have right here. Like that, right? So I built that for that kind of level. Just something else to see. And no, the tower is more than 6 feet tall. And so it goes from the base to the plat for the monorail, the layer. And it goes into this guy, which goes into the diamond, which goes into the observation. Oops, better not hit that. Observation deck, which goes into the cake topper. So before it was kind of balanced between the bottom and the top, because it kind of went up the diamond and went up, so it looked exactly the same, equidistant from the diamond to the top, the diamond to the bottom. Now the diamond is so much taller, higher up, so I'm debating, and I definitely will not have the pieces for it because I have to order all these window frames. I've actually got a couple of Bricklink orders because I ran out of window frames. I'm gonna have to order more. If I were to make, I won't say an exact copy of this, it would not have the landing platforms. It'd be like a cafeteria / dining area where I would put the trans yellow windows all the way around, an octagon of yellow windows and a seating area. Debating it, absolutely debating it. The other thing I could do is that if I want to build that, I could truncate this entire, therefore I wouldn't have to worry about the windows. I thought about this right now on this video. There's no opposition. If I were to, instead of having this, as I say, the slope, straight, slope out, slope back in, straight back down, I could just have this 5 brick tall structure here with the doors on it, and that's the entire level. I can get rid of like literally everything else, the top and the bottom, and just have that as the entire level. Which, not thinking about it, just looking at it now, I like this. I'm going to try this at Bricks in the 6, but I'm just thinking about it now that I can make 2 of these, one that's already built here, and build another one that would be on top here at the top of this thing, and that would not have the doors, but instead of having windows, and it'd be like an eating area, as I say, like a cafeteria or at a restaurant, a gathering place for the minifigs, and that might be better, because I'm thinking this is going to be too tall now. I don't know. We will wait and see at the show. And if I do make it just a 5 bricks tall, I'm thinking again, no off switch, that I would not have to build a jumper cable between the base and the diamond with all those wires I got sticking out here, because I would have enough wire to go up 5 bricks. I left enough slack in it for 5 bricks, so I wouldn't have to add wire. I got some decisions to make between now and November 16th. I like this, but I think it's going to be too tall, and then the landing pads are going to be too tall, and it's going to be too truncated at the top. I like the landing pads to be kind of in the center of the height of the building, and they kind of look like they were in the center of the height of the building. So I might have to revisit this. The other issue is that if I build this here, and then just go straight into the diamond and put that up there, the top one's going to interfere with the observation deck. So I'd have to build a spacer between this duplicate up here and the observation deck. And nobody knows what I'm talking about besides me. I got a picture in my mind already. So I'm not going to bore you anymore. 4 minutes in this and people are, what's he talking about? I have friends and family that are very, very close to me who have a tough time when I start explaining, trying to make a picture in their head as to what things are going to look like. I'm not, especially in this one, I'm not that great at explaining it, but they have to see it. I have to draw it out. I'm not going to draw this out. I don't have paper, first of all. but basically, these 5 layers of bricks here, get rid of this whole area here and that whole area there, and then build another identical piece, except for no doors. It'll be on the top. That's as best I can find it. So back to this brick. So I'm building this thing, and I'm reaching into my 1x2 bins, and I'm taking apart the old one and blah blah. And I find this piece. No, I don't know. I'm gonna keep on trying to do this, and it keeps on failing. The old. How come this thing never wants to focus? The old logo, no pin inside, not even broken. I was excited. Again, this is. I don't know how to explain it. Because I'm not like, oh, this is the best thing in the universe. Yeah, it's like it's not coming across a $50,000 diamond or anything like that. But finding an old piece like this in my collection, I get happy, and I keep my eye out, and I'm noticing them more and more. And this one's remarkably fantastic. Look at the gloss on this thing. It is glossy. It's not even scratched. The old logo inside is, I don't think it says Pat's Pending. It's a 38 or 36. It says 36 or 38, and I can't read that. Oh, it does say Pat's Pending. Pat penned. That's what it says inside. Pat penned 36 FTL. I can't read that. Anyway, that's gonna go right over here into my old bin of old bricks. I want to tell you that because I was building that last night after I my last video. But the important thing here is, so this is me trying to get ready for the show, and the show's a month away, less than a month away. Trying to get ready for the show. I just got this thing back from Jamie's place like 2 days ago. And it's like, I ain't ready. I also have to find stuff to sell, because I am going to sell stuff at the garage sale. And some of the stuff that I've already grabbed, that I've already mentioned, but I'm going to grab some more stuff. I don't know specifics yet, but I'm going to let you know here, probably. I was debating today whether I was going to sell some monorail. I did that at Brickomania. It wasn't intended, be pre-trip that I would sell monorail at Brickomania, but what had happened was I had brought in the 8 boxes. There's monorail because I have the 4 loops of monorail, and one of the loops was not copperized yet before Brickomania, and I didn't want to take the monorail track that's not copperized out of the boxes because I didn't have access. It was buried in the garage. So what I did is I went into my monorail collection, and I found all the pieces I needed for that loop, and I copperized them before I went. So this is untested. So I copperized all those pieces. I put them in a bag, and I took it with me to Brickomania. When I got to Brickomania, I took the uncopperized pieces out of my boxes, and I put them aside, and I put the copper ones in. And it worked perfectly, which is fantastic, at Brickomania last year. And so I had all these uncopperized, these okay, untouched Lego monorails, and I didn't want to bring them back home. So it's the first time in my entire life, and that's just because I was just too lazy to, because they wouldn't fit in the boxes now, just like I went there without them in the boxes. So I sold them, and my very good friend, very good and dear friend Jeff bought them. Thanks, Jeff. So I like how easy that is, because I'm a big fan of easy. And again, I just got monorail the other day, so it's like, how much more monorail do I need? But anyway, so I'm not going to talk about that. There may be monorail. I'm not promising. Do not come to me at Bricks and a Six and say, you promised me monorail. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's a maybe. It's a tentative. But anyway, so getting ready. Here we go for Bricks and a Six. Up we go. It's not even 2 years old, and I've seen better days. But I'm going to say this thing, besides what I did here, and I ripped all that out because it wasn't working properly. It was a great idea. This is where all the train connectors were. The power to the tracks were coming out of here, and it would pop out, and you could put your 2x2 electric connectors on it and push it back in. The problem is every time I moved this, things would fall out and I'd hit a wall and it'd just break the smithereens. So I said, it's just easier to connect to the top. Right now it just has 4 train controllers because that's what I left at Jamie's. I did not leave the RCX is running at Jamie's because that would have been way too, you know, things aren't working properly. So it was 4 train controllers. And overall, it worked. Jamie would turn on and off the light switch, which you remember inside here. Let me just get there. Let me get this easily enough. There we go. Take the top off. Put this back down. There we go. So, tilt this down a little tiny bit. There we go. No, it's not going to open up all the way because, of course, whatever. But 4 train controllers, and when you turn on and off this light switch, it turns on and off the entire thing. That's trash. So this worked out perfectly well. So when Jamie wanted the layout to run, he just turned it on and the layout would run. And he'd go over there and hit that, turn it off. The whole thing turns off. So for me, for a show like Bricks in the Six, I wanted the RCXs in here because then the trains are just doing more than just going around in circles. They're stopping at every station, which, you know, I like. But that does give a little bit more of an overhead of, you know, babysitting basically. every action that you add to a layout for public shows requires more babysitting. So the second you had like a static display with nothing moving, you can just set up and walk away because nothing's moving and you don't care. Ever since we started doing train shows or the original space layouts back in 2000 and whatever, 2007, 2006, whenever Jeff and I started doing it, we've had moving trains and moving monorail. And every single time there has been some babysitting because things are moving and things come off the rails, things get knocked over, things get whatever. But then I started adding RCXs with automated movement and stopping, and that exponentially increased the babysitting. Now, I don't mind that because I want a good show and I like to have more, well, I do want more interactivity, but that's not interactivity. That's, I want more things that, oh, it stopped. Why did it stop? It stopped at every station. Oh, that's cool. So I don't mind doing that. But right now, 4 train controllers ran the entire layout for three months, and it ran it well. I'm gonna say you can see how well used the boxes are. I like that. It makes me happy. So there's that. This guy. So I have a listing in my head of stuff that I have to get done, that needs to be done before Bricks in the Six. Some of the stuff I can live without, but I do want to make sure it's as best as it possibly can be, and I'm trying to truncate all of the stuff I have to do into the weeks that I have remaining. But the number one thing that I had to get done was, redoing the electrical in here. And that's because I don't know if I can do this nicely. So we're just going to use this because it's just, I'm not using this for the picture this time. This is just visualize this as the layout, the power, the monorail stations over. Okay, I'm looking there. Monorail stations over here, the habitats up here, the rocket launch pads over here, and the towers back here. So this is the layout that I bring the shows. And of course it's up in those blue boxes, which are 22 inches high, which is perfect. This thing is not 22 inches high, even with that piece on top, because it can tuck underneath. That's why I designed it that way. So the issue with this box being tucked underneath, like, historically, if you saw it, the previous shows, mostly, I had it on the back. This is the back. This is the front with the LL, you know, all the nice little paint on the Cassiopeia here, lunar base right there. So this is the front. This is the back. This controller center was in the back, which means all the wires from this control center have to run all over the layout, wherever it needs wires. And the Rob Hendricks Lifelike kits, fantastic. The 120 volts, which you can't get anymore. But the Lifelike kits that I got with the 120 volt connectors, the wires are pretty long. They're like 3 or 4 or 5 feet long, 3 or 4. But the control center's here, and I have to get one all the way over to here. And the wires wouldn't reach. The wires would not reach unless I tuck this thing underneath. Like, instead of having it at the back, I had to like have it below here, which means I lost access to it because it's tucked in underneath the layout, just so the wire could reach all the way to the habitat, which is, habitat would be over here, and the rocket platform over here. That's where the wires have to go. Now the tower was right below this thing, so those wires connectors were perfect because it's just right above it. But to get it to the habitat and get it to the habitat and the launch pad, I had to push this thing around and try, and the wires stretched and whatever. So what I wanted to do, and what I tried to do before I took it to, what was the last show we did? Wasn't it Anime North? Was it Anime North? No, Niagara Falls Comic Con. The last show I did in Niagara Falls Comic Con, I redid the wiring, basically, and this is not the best thing, and don't do this at home, kids, is since I knew the power supply was going to be here and the connectors to the tower were going to be here, I didn't need 5 feet of cord. I can cut out half of that off the power supply, off the wall wart, and add it to the other ones that have to go over here and here. So what I did, though, without measuring, so I cut the ones to the tower too short. So they couldn't even get up to the tower. They're like 1.5 feet, and they couldn't get from the bottom here up into the tower. So I had to put this thing up on something to raise it up so I could get power into the tower. Power into the tower. Ryman didn't know it. So I said, and it was a quick hack job with the soldering iron and the electrical tape and whatever. And 2 of the 5 connectors into the layout were not working. The lights weren't coming on at all. And so it's like, so there's error checking, and I'm ripping apart wires and tying them together, blah, 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 to get it lit up. And it was I had to pile some boxes underneath it so this thing could be higher so it could reach into the tower. Oh, it was just a complete disaster. I said, oh, this has got to stop. What I wanted to do is I wanted to extend all the plugs in here, all the 3-volt connectors to the Lifelike power supplies. And so I did that, and I said, I have to get that done before the next show. So I'm not wrestling with that, the wiring, the lighting, which is supposed to be, it's hard enough as it is. Again, everything, you add something, it adds more time to set it up. And I wanted it to be, less time to set up. But finagling with the wiring, that wasn't working. Why isn't it working? Ripping apart the connections, the solder joints, and retwisting it and stripping the wires and whatever. I said, oh man, I don't want to do this. So I said, when I got it back from Jamie's shop, what I wanted to do is redo the wiring. And I didn't know how long that was going to take. I said it's going to be a couple days because there's a lot of wire in here and blah, blah, blah. So I was not necessarily looking forward to that. I wasn't dreading it, but I wasn't looking forward to that. But I had to be done. That is a must-have. So if nothing else gets changed between now and Bricks in the 6, the wiring had to be fixed. Since I saw it at Jamie's shop, and it was looking fine, the actual layout looking fine as it is, there's nothing I have to change to the layout when I bring it to Bricks in the 6, except I have that new level there. And if I don't light it up, I don't light it up. But I wanted the potential. So what I did tonight, and I got it done in one night, is I redid the wiring. Now originally, this is gonna be, here we go. Get it open so you can see. Yeah, you can see here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Lifelike kits here. 120 volt Lifelike kits. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Lifelike kits here. There's 10 altogether. That's all I have. Unfortunately, I wish I had more. But they went to the USB, and I'm not faulting them for that. I'm going to try that to see if I can incorporate the USB into this. So this part was untouched because this, and you might remember this bit of a mess of spaghetti factory of wires, the 20 different connectors, 20 different strands, so 10 different connectors into the layout itself for all the base plates. So they light up from this thing. But the buildings, they lit up from this stuff over here. These 5 are for the buildings. Plus, This is not Rob Hendricks. This is the EL wire, 120 volt connector adapter that you can use for EL wire. And I have EL wire in the tower that's powered by this thing. So that's, again, 120 volts. So what I did is I left one, because I didn't have enough wire, but I left one original Lifelight's wire here, and it is 4 feet to here, so it can't get to the far corners. But wherever I put this box now, wherever I put it, because I originally, if we're going back to here's the layout, and here's the tower here, and here's the habitat there, and there's the launch pad there. What the original idea is I was going to put the power supply, this whole power box on this end, and just run all the wires to this way. But I couldn't reach with the original wires to this side where the habitat was. I couldn't reach. I wouldn't reach all the way over there. So that's when I decided to put over here in the back. That was my very first show with this box. I was starting to set it up over here. I realized I couldn't get the wires to the habitat, so I moved the box from here back to here, back to the back here. And what I may do at Bricks in the 6 is, because now I made the wires longer, and I'll show you that in a sec, is I might put it back over here, because it fits in that little void between the two boxes perfectly. That's why I designed it that way. It fits between the two boxes perfectly, and there's nothing else over there. So in the back, I always put my bag, my blah blah, everything's in the back. So and the long boxes that are in the middle, in the front, in the middle, in the back. And when this thing's there, I have to rearrange it, so I lose all that space in the middle. So it was packed tight. So I'm gonna probably put it back over here, hopefully, fingers crossed. So anyway, so I have the 3 volt. Get all these wires untangled. So I have the 3 volt EL wire connectors there, just one. And I have one of the original Lifelight's that has not been touched at all. Not this one, this one. So this one is not touched, not broken, not cut. And then I have this one here, and then you can see I changed it, soldered a wire on there. And when so this is a story. We were throwing out a whole bunch of old desktops and laptops. And I knew I was going to be doing this to extend the wires of these power supplies. And so we were throwing out old laptop power supplies. So what I did is I went and grabbed a whole bunch of like 5 or 6 power supplies, and I just cut the cable coming off the power supply that goes to the laptop, which I thought was basically the same stuff as this. That was this stuff. This stuff is, I guess they call it armored. They have the exterior wire underneath the black. It's just one full strand, and then they have a layer of insulation, and it's almost like a cable, like coax, and they have a little wire going down the middle. And I thought that's the same thing with the power adapters for my laptops, but that's not right. The power adapters for the laptops are just like 3-strand wire. And I said, well, that was a waste of my time. So what I did is I just got the rubber silicone wire that I've been using to refurbish my 9-volt stuff, and I just used that. So yeah, it's not armored anymore, but so it goes from this round wire to the 2-strand, and then you go Agent USA. If you haven't played Agent USA on the Commodore 64, you don't know what you're missing. Anyway, and then it goes to the other end. And I put this in. There we go. So now, instead of 4 feet, I have, well, I guess 8 feet. 8 feet of wire. And so I transferred 4 of my 5 boxes here, my Lifelight boxes, to be 8-foot long connectors. So now I can put the box literally anywhere around it. And I can even have it sitting away from it and the wires going into it, because that would be nice. And I'm hoping to put on this end. So, and because this one wire, wherever I put the box, there's going to be at least one connector, like, because the habitat's here, it needs a connection. So if I put the power supply on this end, the short one's going to go to the habitat. If I put it on this end, it's going to go to the rocket launch platform. So I'm golden now. I'm absolutely golden now. So that is done. And then because I had those power supply wires from the laptops, I actually found the Velcro. That usually laptop power supplies come with Velcro so you can wrap up the wires. And but I only had 3 of them, which is dumb. But anyway, but I thought this was going to take me a long time. I really did, but it didn't. So I was happy with that. And then I also stopped by Sale on the way home today, and I picked up some heat shrink tubing. So you can see it's heat shrink tubing, not electrical tape. And I made sure that the joints were very, 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 very solidly connected, because that was the problem I had last time. It was just kind of a hack job, and the solder joints came undone. And so these things were thoroughly tested. So all 5 of these, or 4 of these that I've adapted, should be working perfectly fine at the show. If not, I do plan on bringing my soldering iron. Shocking. And like Thursday and Friday, it's going to be me error checking the layout, because again, it's had a bit of a run since the last Bricks in the 6, because it was at Anime North, it was at Niagara Falls Comic Con, and it was at Jamie's shop for months. So it's had a bit of a run since the last Bricks in the 6, and that's why I want to get the Velcro and the rest of that stuff, because it comes out. And this stuff, basically, I'm gonna do this right now. I'm gonna turn. Can I do this? Something shaky. This stuff is in here for now. It's not my prettiest thing I've ever done, I'll say that, but you know, right now it's whatever works. It's hard for me to wrap that ribbon cable up nicely. In here, I have lots of my refurbished 9-volt wire, because of course I have all the light sensors and the power to the track sensors and blah 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 and yada yada. So there's that. Oh, here's my Velcro. I can just use that. I got my so these are 2 doors for somebody that asked for 2 doors. So I'm bringing that to Bricks in the 6. It's in here. Let's see. Wait. Sorry. Let's see this one. Again, things that make me happy. Not ecstatically happy. I'm like, woohoo! But, you know, it's just a little rush of endorphins that says, hey, this is working. I haven't tested my lights at all, and they've been kind of bashed around. So I'm hoping I should test them all before the show to make sure they're still working, because I got some spares that I kind of half made and whatever. So I gotta get that done. So there's lots of work to do between now and November 16th for Bricks in the 6. And I probably won't be repainting this box, but I'm going to be repainting my rails that hold up the layout, because the knots are coming through again, because I use knotty pine, and that was just I shouldn't have cheaped out and bought knotty pine. I should have bought select pine, because the knot, I think it's my 4th time I'm repainting these rails. Even using primer and base coats and stuff like that, it still comes through after a while, which is just sad. So numero 10, the 10th box. They all lock in together. So I am more than reasonably happy with how things are going right now. I was surprised that only took me 1 night. I do have some modules that I want to rebuild. I'm going to try, but before I do any of that, I have to take these guys and fix them, because they're only damaged because I threw them in the box. So don't worry about the broken pieces. This is my next one. It's got these guys up to snuff, and because they ran for so long, they're quite filthy on the bottom. So I'm going to work on that, but I also have to make better pickups because they're all, you know, really, really worn, threadbare. So I have to do that. And, well, I'm missing pieces already. What is? There we go. So all this stuff I got to get done between now and Bricks in the Six, and I'm going to spend some time doing what I can. Maybe rebuild some of these things to make them a little stronger, because they do seem the tendency of breaking, which again is babysitting. When it's on a layout and it falls off the track and it breaks, it's just like I have to put it back together. And some of the putting together, I'm not saying is like a Simon Lou build, but it's pretty close. I would say like you're basically holding things together with a wing and a prayer. And I want to get away from that, so it's taking care of itself. It'll be working on its own without me having to babysit it, because I want to walk around more. I do notice that I do tend to, at shows, not get out to see the rest of the show because I'm so busy babysitting the layout. And so I would love to be able to see more of the show this time. That's my hope, but that's going to require a lot of pre-planning and a lot of pre-fixing, so I don't have to sit behind the layout and keep on working on it throughout the entire weekend. So that means I have to get this done. I have to rebuild some modules if I have time. It is, the modules are fine, as I say. I've took it down from Jamie's. These are ideas that I've had in my head for years now to redesign, not so you guys would notice the difference, but redesign some of the interiors, the models, the various parts and pieces of the layout, the nodes, the modules, so I can take them up and put them up and take them down easier without, you know, because I touched something and I broke something inside. You know, it's just like I don't want that, so I want to have it a little bit easier. The other one that I really have to fix is the garage doors. First of all, because they got some trans yellow now. But other than that, the garage doors always seem to break. Not every single time, but they do seem to break a lot in the traveling because the base plate doesn't really hold them nicely. So I have to figure that out, because you can't fix a garage door on the fly very well, especially when it's in the middle of a layout. So I hide it by parking cars in front of it, so nobody notices vehicles in front of it, so that the garage door's not even there. So, but anywho, so there is work for me to do. This is my next tackling. I'm going to have to build new connectors, new pickups across all three of these, and I think I have to grab the other one too, which is now buried, unfortunately, but I have to grab my white one because it's also needs new pickups on it. I thought I put it in here, but I didn't. So I have to dig it out. But these three and that one, the train itself worked perfectly fine the entire time. When you turn on the power, the train went around the track. The train itself on the old 9-volt rails just kept on going. Every single time Jamie put on the layout, the train would go around. Now, I think some kids knocked it off. One thing I will say is the few times, and maybe I should have visited more, but the few times that I visited the layout and visited Jamie at the shop, I noticed that the monorails had been probably knocked off, because it happens at every show. Because, well, this guy with all the little shuttles on the back three things, the shuttles were not even on the train anymore. They were like in the layout, and I'm going, oh, somebody knocked it off. So that's going to happen. And so I know that, and that's fine. That's perfectly acceptable. And I told Jamie, absolutely 100%, that's expected. And the fact that he took care of it and put it all back on and got it working again. So I have 100% confidence in Jamie. He did say one of my minifigs went walking. I didn't notice. I honestly didn't notice. I do try to keep track of my more rare minifigs. But usually the more rare minifigs are deeper into the layouts that are harder to reach. But I shouldn't have been. I didn't need to be. but I'm always concerned at every show I've ever done is the mobile tracking station, because of the trans clear shields, round shields that are on that guy. I keep on thinking that's going to go walking, because that's right there in front, and because that's where it's supposed to be displayed. And if people know what it is, they might want to take it, but nobody does. So thus far, I'm batting 1,000. But Jamie said one red minifig went walking. I didn't see a red minifig missing. He told me he replaced it. Maybe he did. Whatever. I was perfectly happy that it was set up for 3 months and people got to see it. And I got a lot of Facebook messages over the last 3 months from that, because of course I got Sparky 1701 as my YouTube channel right there in the corner, and so people look me up and tell me, hey, I saw this at the Brick Shack, and I said, yep. and we have a chat. I really like that. I really, really do appreciate that. And I do like the fact that other people do enjoy this thing. Jamie did mention to me that there was a person that wanted my contact information, even though it's right on the side of the layout. It's right there. But this guy was really, really adamantly wanting my contact information because he wanted to buy the layout. And I'm going, so while we're at the 36-minute mark, let's go into this. So many, many years ago, gather around, children. many, many years ago. It's not a tangent. This is actually related. Many, many years ago, before space layouts, we did some train shows. And I will say, I've always liked trains and blah, blah, blah. So I'll try to truncate the story a little bit. So at that time, we were doing train shows. The General Electric EMD70 SE came off the assembly line, the very first one. I think it was statistically the biggest engine they've ever made. And there was a little bit of hey, this is a brand new engine. It's like the SD40. Like, I don't know I'm not a train head, but but the SD70, GCE, whatever, came out of and there was a whole bunch of videos and a whole bunch of plans. And so I, who was in the trains for the minute that I was in the trains, decided to build one out of Lego. And I got some specs, I got some blueprints, I got some whatever, and I tried to make it. I mean, I'm not like Anthony Saba. I am not Anthony. I'm not Kale. Although those mostly steam engines. But anyway, I'm not those guys. But I gave it my best shot. I gave it my best shot. And I had that thing here for years. I don't know where it is now. I think I took it apart. But GE70 STE, STE, whatever. And I built it. It was that long. It was a big engine. And I built it to scale and blah, blah. And I posted it. I posted it on, I don't even think it was in my Flickr channel. I think that picture, there might be a picture somewhere on my Flickr channel from way back when. But I don't know how somebody from the GE company who built this train found out that I built this thing out of Lego. Because I got contacted, like I got an email or a text or something. I can't remember now. It was like before I met Sandy. And, Dave, can we buy it? We want to buy this engine off you. And back then, I did not have the collection I have now. Here's me coming up with excuses already. Back then, I didn't have the collection I have now. And I was not interested in selling. I said, I CAD'd it. I ML CAD'd it. So I actually had the plans to build it that I put online somewhere. I can't remember. And I said, I'm not interested in selling, but here's the plans if you want to build it. And they promptly never talked to me again. Because they just wanted to buy it and put it on a plaque and give it to whoever designed it, I guess. And had they sent me a second email, I would have caved 100%. I know, because I was thinking, oh, I wish they sent me a second email because I will tell them I want. But so I've never really sold anything I've ever built before, but that's a single time in my life that I regret not selling it, because basically I made the STE70 out of parts of my collection Nothing was rare in that build, but it looked pretty good. I would have sold an art piece once in my life, which I've never done before. So I do regret that decision of not selling it. I was too busy showing it off at train layouts, train displays, whatever. And I was thinking, and part of it, and I don't want to be self-deprecating, is that my builds, after looking at Anthony's and Kale's and everybody else's, my build is not worthy to be sold. It was pretty basic. I mean, it looked like it. As soon as you saw it, you could say that's a ST70, but it was rudimentary compared to other people's builds that I've seen since. Not in the first 5 years or 10 years, but I saw one, I think 2 or 3 years ago, somebody built that engine with newer parts, and it is almost dead on. And it's like, oh, that's beautiful. Mine was built 23 years ago, whatever it was. I think I was at the apartment in East Hamilton there. I can't remember now if I started there. I think it was here for a minute when I had the full basement layout before Sandy moved in. But that's 20 years ago. So I said, oh, I should have sold it, you know, asked for $100, whatever, and ship it to him. Because I could have built the whole thing again. And that's my other thing. I could have built the whole thing again out of the parts I have in my collection. There was not a piece in there that I did not have multiple copies of, including the train wheels, including like literally everything. And I didn't even get around to putting stickers on it. Like, it had no stickers. I was thinking about getting stickers. Now I have a Cricut, so I can absolutely do stickers, but I didn't have stickers on it. And so when Jamie told me the other day that somebody was really, really pushing to talk to me to see if I would sell the layout to him, I'm going, remember the train, and I'm going, wow. Right now, the biggest draw I have at a Lego show is the layout. If I sold it to somebody, it's not going to make it to shows. It's never going to. I built the whole thing so I can put it into the 8 boxes to carry it to shows. Because shows, honest to goodness, is my favorite part of this hobby right now. And the reason why shows are my favorite part of the hobby is because I get to sit at the layout, and people come to me and we get to chat. I mentioned this numerous times. I get to build friendships more. I've friends that I've already got, and complete strangers that become my friends and become my friends on Facebook because of the layout. Not because they're walking, there's 150 people walking through this room, going to wherever they're going. But me at the layout is completely different. Hey, they built this thing. I'm going to talk to them. so it's like, it is a fantastic conversation starter. So I would say with any, I don't know, nobody's going to ask me again, but with any idea of what I would sell this layout for, there's like 50,000 pieces in it. That's my best guess. There's about 50,000 pieces in it. And some of them are quite rare. Some of them are $50 a piece on Bricklink right now. And I have 12 of them in here. So it's like I have said, and with most sincerity and most seriousness, if this layout got stolen or something happens to it and it gets smashed up in a car or whatever, it burns down and whatever, in a hail of fire, I could build 99.9% of this layout with the parts in this room. The issue would be these windows. I have absolutely zero more window frames. I used them all up down here, and I still have ones that I had to order from Bricklink. So I would have to order all those windows, all that glass, and all of those 45-degree windows and all those old original 4x3 windows. I'd have to order them all, and there's a million of them in here. Well, not a million, lots, but I have all the 4x9 wing plates. I have all the 4x3 roof slopes. I have like literally almost everything else. The train track, the monorail, the monorail engines. I have all this. Now I have to go back to modifying it again. I have to put the copper on all those monorail pieces again. I would not want to do that because that is so time. I will say this. Doing the monorail with the copper, it's so time consuming. It is beyond crazy how time consuming that is. But I could do it. Or I would build something new, something completely different. But I have enough pieces in here to build something completely different. So, it's bedtime. But would I sell it? Absolutely. Show me the money. Give me a number. I'm not selling it for $1. So $1 is too low, and 100 million or 100,000 is too high. So somewhere in there, somewhere in there is a number that I would more than happily give this. I'll drive it to your house. Absolutely drive it to your house. Set it up in your living room, and then here's the keys. Well, whatever. Here's the layout. See you bye. And with the sets, because again, I have all the sets again. So there's nothing in the layout that I don't have in this room. And so and that's maybe why I use the word cavalier. I mentioned it in the previous video. Maybe I'm not cavalier about it, but I'm not worried. I'm not anxious about leaving it at Jamie's shop for 3 months. I'm not. I know Jamie. So with that conversation now, not to go off on this tangent at this late in the game. I was approached for, I think, family weekend or family week, March break next year. If I wanted to display the layout in Hamilton here, they're doing a March break thing. And they want to do, they want my layout to put on display there. And I said no. I did. Straight up no. I don't know these people. They could be the best people on the planet. I'm not saying they're not, but I don't know them. I do not personally know them. And I will not be there for 5 of the 7 days because I will be at work for 5 of the 7 days. So me showing up on a Sunday, setting up the layout for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I'm not there, I have huge concerns about that, which I did not have when I left it at Jamie's, because I know Jamie and I know he watched out for it. I don't know these people. If I'm there, I'd be there. Absolutely. If somebody can make me retire tomorrow and pay me enough to retire, I'd be there the entire week. I show up every day. Love to, absolutely love to, because I love doing shows. Any shows at all, I love doing, especially when they're over, like they're a week long. Again, the 1-day shows, which I have done with this layout. But it's not too much fun because you set up for 2 hours, show up for 5 or 7, and then take it down for an hour. That's just like a huge day. 2-day shows aren't nearly as bad. Anime North is a 3-day show. Fantastic. Niagara Falls Comic Con 3-day show. Perfect. Breaks in the Six is a 4-day show. That's fantastic. Jamie's Shop, a 3-month show. Count me in. But a 1-day show, whatever. So if somebody's coming to me, like when I retire and say, hey, Dave, we wanted to set this thing up for a week, I'm there. I'm absolutely there. You give me passes, give my wife passes, give my kid passes, and I will be there the entire week with the layout. Absolutely. And having a blast doing it, because I loved every show I've ever done, no matter what it was. I did, I think it was post-COVID. I did, in one summer, one spring, summer, and fall, I did the Collector Con at Mississauga. Nice guy. I like that. I did that show twice. Once with Callum and Keith, or Kevin. Callum and Kevin. That was great. I really enjoyed that. I did the Ancaster show, the Ancaster Collector show, and I was the only exhibitor there, which I don't mind, which is exactly the same as Mississauga Collector Con. There's no other exhibitors there. But I had fun in Ancaster. And then I think Joseph, maybe it was the year after, called me up and says, can you do, there's a little show in Etobicoke, the Canadian Toy Collector Society, Collection Society. And I broke a nail, pretty bad. And that was a 1-day show. And I think Ancaster was a 1-day show as well. So I shut up in the morning, do the 6 to 8 hours, and then take it down at night. I didn't mind that. I was getting used to it. But the one I really liked doing that year was the Hamilton Open Doors at the Hamilton Steam Museum down by the lake in Hamilton here. It's hard for me to say it was my favorite show ever because I was just down the street for me to go. I did not 5 minutes from my bed to the show. It's fantastic. But the Hamilton Steam Museum is one of my favorite places on the planet. And it's just down the street. Because it's just, it's an adorable spot for a museum. And they're really nice people. And I really enjoyed that show. So I did 4 or 5 shows that year. Some were a day, some were 2 days, some were like an entire weekend. But 7 days, I'd be there in a heartbeat if I was going to be there every single day. I can't be there every single day because I have a job. so that is a c'est la vie. And what is that? That's not enough any of these. I don't think. Nope. I don't know what that's from. Anywho, that's it. That's all. I can't do every show I want to do, and I'm trying to limit the number of shows I do. We're in October now. November, Bricks and a Six. So I did Mississauga Comic-Con, but I didn't bring the layout. I brought my little piece of art over there in the box. I did Anime North, so that's 2. I did not New Brunswick, Newmarket. One of the Turtle Lug guys has a little place, beautiful little place up in Newmarket, and we did a little show there. And I brought my little art piece, and I loved it. So that's 3. Niagara Falls, 4. And did I say I said Mississauga? So I've done, I think Bricks and a Six will be my 5th or 6th show this year. And 3 of those 6 shows I had to lay out at. Oh, and I have to say Jamie Shop, the Brick Shack, that's 7. I did 7 shows this year. So I'm happy. It was a good year for shows for me because usually when I do a lot of shows in a year, it feels like that's all I did was shows. But I think the 3 months at the shop, at Jamie Shop, was fantastic because I didn't have to be there, which I really do appreciate. Thanks, Jamie. I think that's not a record for me for doing shows, the number of shows in 1 year, but it is a lot of shows. And I will say, after taking the layout down on Sunday, I was pretty tired the next day, yesterday, and my legs are still slightly sore today for taking on the layout on Sunday. And that's also because I'm getting close to 60. So there's that. Even talking about that for a second, how many more times am I going to be able to do this? Because these boxes are not getting lighter. so it is like I want to do it while I can, and I'll keep doing it as I can. And but I'm also not going to. I'm going to do what I possibly can between now and November 16th and get all this stuff fixed, and so it's working or whatever. So I'm going to focus on the working instead of making it pretty. When I get the working, then I'll worry about the pretty. So the pretty is going to stay till last. I do kind of wish I might rebuild that, but I think I don't have the time or the wherewithal, and I think it does look good. But I think the tower is going to look very, very top heavy. But anyway, we've already talked about that. I am rambling now. Not that I rambled before. And I'm going to bed. You guys all stay safe, take care, and I will talk to you soon.